Good evening, this is Tony Dattino. This is Monday, December 21st. I guess we're getting to our first day of winter, if I've got my calendar days well. And unfortunately had a 70-degree day here in Orlando, Windermere, Florida. And it wasn't so bad. So not a bad way of starting the first day. However, it's back to work, and it's all about our memories. And here's a special issue we're going to be talking about now over the next several broadcasts, all about memory. What is it, how does it work, and how do you improve it? And this is from National Geographic, and it's out until February 21, before I guess it will go off the newsstands. So the first thing I find interesting is, okay, so now what is memory? I find that's an interesting thing. How it works is fascinating to me, and ways you can prove it. I'm certainly delighted to see that at least somebody somewhere feels that, wow, our memories are something we can actually improve. And I know from hosting and running the USA Memory Championship for over 20 years, the news media, newspapers, radio, TV folks, they come and look at the event. It's the first thing they're looking at is, are these people that were like born nerds? Are they born with these unusual memories? And is this a gift that they had? Or, how did they get to be, a mental athlete in a memory competition? And so the very first thing that I'm encouraged by is, at least in this particular article, they're talking about in ways that you can improve it. And so, yes, there are ways that we can improve it. We put together an online course, Maximum Memory Mastery, that we've learned from 20 plus years. We've learned the differences of different people, different ages and skill groups, and how that they come to learn the pictures and names of people. So we now have 120 pictures of people that we give them, and they have 15 minutes to remember first and second names. How do we remember digits, numbers? I mean, most people don't like math, and they don't think that they can remember numbers. We have 7-digit telephone numbers or addresses, and how do we get all of that straightened out? And talking about numbers, right? I was going for an address today, and I had it in my head. I just looked at it on the internet, and I had it in my head as 9120. And it turns out it was 1290. Now, how I ever did that, I mean, I probably should have used one of my memory techniques, but how I got a 9120 switch from a 1290 is not too smart. And after a couple of miles of driving, passed up 1290, which is where we were trying to go on our way to 9120, which was a couple of miles further down the road, when I realized I think I might have this messed up a little bit. I think we passed it. So numbers, how do we remember numbers? How do we take the time to focus? So one of the things I tell people is, you have to believe you can improve your memory. And you say belief, well, yeah. If you don't think you've got a good memory, and therefore there's no point of learning any skills, or there's no point of doing anything about it, other than, gee, I have it or I don't. Here's the first myth and or pitfall that I see people have when we're trying to get them to learn what the skills are, and the techniques and the systems and the methods. Mnemonics very often is what they're called. And so the very first thing that you want to let people know is, hey, there are ways that you can learn how to improve your memory. And it just seems like too many people view their memories as it's fixed. It was given to them at birth in some capacity. They had the right mental capacities, and the right brain cells were developed as they grew up, and that's not going to change. Well, what we've learned since then, and we've been doing Live with Tony broadcasts, I've been doing these, is that our brain does have cells and plasticity and abilities to adapt and modify within its own environment based on the nurturing and the naturing that we give it, but it's mostly the nurturing that we can take and bring to the naturing and expand our mental capacities. And this is one of the great benefits of having done the USA Memory Championship for over 20 years, is finding people like a Nelson Dellis and or Ron White, and or our first woman champion, Tatiana Cooley, a cancer survivor, and Scott Hagwood, and just looking at our latest Lance Turcotte, a teacher, John Graham, our international man of memory, Chester Santos. I mean, these are people that have come to compete in the event and prove to themselves that there was more they could do with their memory than I guarantee you any of them thought when they first began to practice and develop their memory systems or skills and began to take 15 minutes 3 times a week. Which brings me to Josh Foer, the author of Moonwalking with Einstein. I mean, Josh was a character, very young, early 20s when he first saw this, came to cover it for Slate, got challenged to come back and compete, and came back and won the event. And the next thing he's doing is writing a book, Moonwalking with Einstein, which continues to be one of the favorite books of people. They still read it, and they still call us, and they still say, is this the event that Josh Foer was writing about in his Moonwalking with Einstein book? And we still continue to have fun with that and engage with people who have read it and are just finding it hard to believe that they can do something to improve their memory. So these are just, over 22 years, we've had a variety of champions, and then we had a young high school student just win the first virtual memory championship we did on November 14th of this past year, as we obviously weren't able to get back together. So seeing a magazine like National Geographic finally come to pass, where their questions are how memory works, recollection machinery, it's a journey through the brain. Fascinating. The limited capacity of our short-term memory and what we're meant to remember for longer term and what we're set to take in and remember for short term. So my 1920, I do need to remember that long term because I am planning to go back to that again. But I at least now have a spatial journey method where I know what the journey will be from what I normally will take in terms of roads and sites and driveways and things. I'll certainly go past Disney's Wide World of Sports. I know how to get there. I'll go past Disney's Wide World of Sports and take my way off to some building locations that will easily help me retain 1920 as I go to my destination as to what I was searching for today. I'm not crazy about the limited storage capacity of working memory. I believe that we have an amazing capacity. From what I have seen, experienced, and watched people, one of the most important things is to not get emotionally stressed and not to get where emotions come in. I've seen in many cases in the memory competition. I always think of mental athletes when they hear click and the bell goes, well, the click goes off and says, and let the competition begin. And you just look at the faces of the mental athletes that are about to compete, and you begin to see some of the tension that they've got to go through. Yet, what they really need is focus. They need focus on what they're trying to accomplish and remember, and they have to have their memories, systems or links that they're using to build the associations that they have and the links and connections that give it context, so that they can help make their stories, as our brain loves to have stories. We just love them, love them. And boy, do we all remember a good story, and do we all like to take it and very often embellish it and remember it. And so how does our memory work? So what are the stories we're telling ourselves? How do we create the right associations of those stories? So we build a series of associations and links and connections that then just create a neural network of words and pictures and images that help us to put those links and connections into our brain, so that when we're asked a question or asked to recall, we go back to the encoding that we did and we can pull that out if we've done what? If we've encoded it properly and we've encoded it with strong imagery, visualization, strong links, connections, and a strong storyline. And so if we just start on there for tonight, we'll pick this up again on Wednesday. We'll build over the next week or so So what are some of the fundamentals? So if I ask you for tonight, when you're trying to remember something tonight, somebody that's talking to you, or somebody's giving you a number, or somebody you may see on a TV program, and just, I always say, use TV programs to have some fun, the star actor or actress on a show that you've never watched before. Put it on, just make it your point to remember who the star actor or actor was, and look at their facial imagery, and then think of a story you can make up. Maybe it's the show they're in or a movie that you're watching, but make it an awareness and a conscious effort that I want to remember this, and I want to remember it because I saw him in this movie, and therefore you're going to talk about it with somebody else over the next day or two, and you're going to help build the reinforcement of the storyline, the picture, the name of the person, and just prove to yourself that if you wanted to take the time and put the effort into it, that you could learn the mental skills on how to improve your own memory. So that's what I wanted to leave with tonight. This is Monday in my 5 o'clock hour. We'll be back on Wednesday. Not quite sure yet what I'm doing for Christmas Day. I may just get out and just wish everybody a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas. God, the year is going by quickly. As much as it's been a challenge for all of us, it certainly has, the days going by quickly. We've now entered our winter season, and we all need to stay warm and safe and figure out together how do we get through the mental challenges that we need to keep mental fitness, minimize our stress levels and anxiety levels, and stay healthy and well as we go into the year 2021. So have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you Wednesday. I'm on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 o'clock hour period right now.